I wanted to make something in a way that looked up to all my heroes, but at the same time was fresh. And that's hard, and I'm still trying to do that. I'm still trying to make something that isn't just the same chord progression that everyone's heard like so many times. And I think that was like the first time I was like, wait, okay, this is actually going somewhere. And I couldn't believe it. There was like such a surreal feeling for a week or two. Right now is such a weird time in my life. Everyone at 17 just doesn't know what they're doing. So the fact that I'm now doing music full time and I'm doing all of this crazy stuff, it's like a big jump for a 17-year-old. Hey, this is Alfie Templeman, and this is the makings of an artist. I watch you making waves, cowabunga, I feel younger, good times in the shade, I feel crazy, I can't think.
Welcome back to the Makings of an Artist podcast. My name is Sebastian Cowsill, and today we have with us the talented young artist from the UK, Alfie Templeman. Man, thank you so much for being with me today. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm gassed. It's going to be great.
Beautiful. So I was reading you were from a very small village named Carlton. Is that right?
Yeah. Very small.
How has that influenced who you are as a musician growing up there? Because I know from an outsider's perspective, when they Google Carlton, they would be pretty surprised to see that such a colorful young artist like yourself would be from there. But how has it affected you in your music?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a compact little place that in a way, there's not much to do around it. I mean, you got a shop and a couple pubs, but that's about it. So in a way, it was kind of out of boredom that I'd started making music because there was nothing else to do. There was like one park you could go to now and then, but it kind of got boring and a little bit cynical after a while. So I was just starting to write from my bedroom where I still do it. And I guess the only real inspiration it has is just boredom and just like because it's so pretty and stuff. And you can actually just think of stuff just by looking out the window, which is, it's a good thing. I'm very lucky to have that.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was going to ask you too, is partly because there's not much to do. Is that why you got into music? Yeah,
totally. Yeah, because I kind of live in the middle of nowhere. It's not like, because I'm from a place called Bedfordshire, which Colin is in. And like Bedford, there's a lot more to actually do in its main town. But because I'm like only on the borders of it, there's like not much around my area. So yeah, sometimes it can get a little bit, I guess, boring. And I wasn't ever really into sport as well. So it kind of just looked like the other option to me in a way.
Mm-hmm. Do you think being from a small area like that inspired you to be a more colorful person and want to stand out? Or do you feel like you would have been watered down if you were raised in a place like London or Birmingham?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I think about that. And I think the problem with those kind of places is that everyone kind of goes for the same thing. Mm-hmm. A lot of the artists that come out there, they're all aiming for the same thing. And that's because they have access to all of like the labels and stuff. They're like next door. Everyone's in the same kind of place. Everything kind of looks the same in those big cities. Whereas here, there's like a bit more of a backstory to it. And it's something different. Like it's a little taste of a different place in the UK, which is like great because I like mentioning that I'm from here because no one knows where it is really, and no one knows about it. So it's not just another artist from London or anything. It's got more of a story about my origin and stuff. And I just find it fascinating that can happen and that little places can have notable people. There's all like little places that are sprouting about now because of people that have came from them. But with places like London and stuff, it's a lot more, I guess it's easier to get big, but you can only get big in a certain way nowadays because everyone's kind of fed up with like, oh, he's from London, he's from LA or stuff like that. It's kind of like more interesting if you have someone that's from a place where no one's ever been destined to be famous.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know your parents were musicians too, right? Or at least your dad?
Yeah. My dad, he plays the guitar quite a lot.
Was he one of the main forces to you picking up music as well, or was it truly something you just started for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, he like got me my first guitar and basic equipment. So yeah, I do owe a lot of it to him for basically letting me to bash about on drums and guitars and stuff. Yeah, definitely, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Outside of your dad and stuff, what else influenced you to want to pursue it more than just a hobby?
I mean, because I was so young, there wasn't much to it. It was more just, I guess it's like, it wasn't even my friends in a way, because a lot of my friends, obviously I was like 7 when this kind of happened, so a lot of my friends were playing sports and stuff, and I never really liked it. So I kind of just believed it was the right thing, kind of like I was destined to do it. But the only other major contribution was a band called Rush, because my dad, he was doing this job for his mate, and I went with him, and his mate just gave me a Rush DVD to watch while my dad was doing the job, because he's a builder and he was doing some kind of extension for him. And I was just sat there watching Rush, and I was watching Neil Peart, who just passed away, playing the drums. And that's what kind of made me really want to play drums and make music and stuff. So that was the biggest thing. And for some reason, I just went on with it, because there's a lot of people that were my age that were like, "Oh, I want to play the drums," and by like 2 weeks later, they'd have quit or something. But it just felt right to me.
Now I know you are like you mentioned, you are self-taught in a lot of disciplines like drums, guitar, bass too. Is that right?
Well, the only one that I was taught was drums, but all the other stuff is just me, just messing around.
Yeah, that and production as well. Which of these did you first pick up, and how come?
So it was drums first, and weirdly enough, I asked my dad for a drum kit for Christmas when I was about 7, and I didn't get one. I got a guitar, so that's how I picked up the guitar.
Okay.
Which is it's actually a bit of a blessing, because that if that never happened, I would have probably been a bit limited. I probably wouldn't have been a multi-instrumentalist or something. So it was great. And then I got a drum set the following year, and then by the time I was like 10, I was producing. And to be honest, I didn't even really think about bass until I was like 13. And for a while, it was just like I couldn't afford a bass, so I just pitched down a guitar, which is dodgy. But sometimes I still do it actually, because it sounds cool.
Yeah.
But yeah,
unique flavor.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So you started getting all that at a really young age, 10. I didn't even know. I thought you started producing at 13.
Well, 13 was when I kind of like put vocals in there, and I guess you could say that I did it properly. And that was like for my own stuff. But I was doing it much younger with my mate, Joss, who plays guitar in my band. Yeah, we used to just make demos together, literally when we were that young. Out of boredom as well, because like he was from a village not too far away called Risley. So yeah, we were just doing it out of boredom and love for music.
At what age did you really see it as your end path?
It probably sounds a bit cliche, but I actually knew it like from when I started, and that's why I kept going. It's really weird. Like it just felt right, and it just always felt like good to do. And I just knew that if I kept doing it, I'd eventually get to do it as a job, and that's why I'm here in a way, which is crazy.
And then you started releasing your own tracks and stuff at the age you were 15, right? When you released your single Orange Juice and Like an Animal and stuff.
Yeah.
What would you say was the hardest part of those first few initial releases, both musical and personal?
Well, so I think Orange Juice was the first one that I was like probably really happy about, because I'd been doing it prior since like 2016. I'd been putting stuff up and then removing it, if that makes sense, because I kept like thinking, well, this isn't right. This is kind of like, it isn't neat and it isn't polished and it doesn't feel right. And I think I could do something better. It was kind of like, because like every day I'd record a song when I was about 13, and every day the one I do after the one like yesterday would be better. So it kept like making a cycle where it'd be like, nah, this one's better, this one's better, this one's better. And it would like, I was making full albums like in a week and like putting them up. And it was like, nah, this new album beats the one that I just put out, wipe it off. And then it got to the stage I was like, okay, I've got to stop doing this. I've got to like try and really focus on something that I want to put out. And that was Orange Juice. And yeah, it was kind of just me being a bit of a perfectionist and making something that I actually enjoyed listening to, rather than trying to get the attention of labels and stuff. And luckily it worked out both ways in a way. which was great.
Mm-hmm. What attributed to finding your sound when you did?
Oh, well, it's kind of weird. I think it was a lot of stuff actually. I didn't want to just be another one of those kind of like mainstream indie artists that aren't really indie, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wanted to make something in a way that looked up to all my heroes, but at the same time was fresh. And that's hard, and I'm still trying to do that. I'm still trying to make something that isn't just the same chord progression that everyone's heard like so many times, which is odd because Orange Juice is the exact opposite. But it was kind of just like a safe way to put out something that I liked, but knew I could do better. It was kind of like a way to start off my career. And then obviously I dropped Like an Animal later on, which was like a way of saying, okay, so here's how I progressed. And then every EP I put out after that is like the same thing. So it's kind of like what I did at the start, but without removing the albums and stuff because I thought they were messy. Because now I've established that everything I'm putting out is good. It's to a good quality. And in a way, I see my career at the moment as just like a kid who's learning, just because I'm so young. So it doesn't really matter if nothing's perfect. I'd rather it be like a little way of showing how I've developed over time.
Mm-hmm. I know one thing for you, kind of the elephant in the room is your age, and I know that's mentioned a lot with in interviews and whatnot. So I had to ask, do you ever find yourself having trouble with your age or people not taking you seriously because of it in the industry or anyone you've worked with or encountered?
So it's kind of weird because I don't think so, but at the same time, I think maybe I don't know because people are trying to be nice and not mention it. Because obviously, like you said, it's like the elephant in the room, but it's kind of an awkward thing to confront because you don't know whether people are being nice to you because of your age, or you don't know whether people are holding back because of your age. But I think in the next couple of years that will show, and that will also help me make the next steps as a musician and what it would take to, I guess, put out the first whole album, an LP or something. But at the moment, it's kind of hard to tell. I do ask myself this a lot, but I just said I'd play it out and wait until I was an adult, and then see if anything changes the way my music is consumed and stuff. But at the moment, it's kind of hard to tell, I guess.
Yeah. I think it says a lot about the industry right now too, where a lot of the most streamed artists are, Justin Bieber and Billie Eilish right now are top 2 on Spotify. People who got young, super young. So I think that's partly out the door, nowadays. But I just wondered if you encountered it.
It's great actually because there's a lot more young people doing it, and there's a lot more respect for young people doing it. And I think a big part of that is due to social media and how engaged people are with the way they consume music now. And it's just about respect as well. It's about actually like having a place in your heart for people that are doing it at a young age, because it's a big thing to do, and it's a big thing to put yourself out there at such a young age. So like anyone who does that, I have big respect for.
Mm-hmm. What was the perception of your hometown when you started blowing up at such a young age?
Well, there's a lot of people that I'd never spoken to kind of confronted me like, yo, this is cool. And at first I was like, oh, they're just saying that because like all of a sudden they want to like be mates. But then I was kind of like, maybe they're just, maybe they wanted to speak to me and never had the guts really. And now my music's connected with them or something. And I guess, it's I'm not going to act like it wasn't the first one as well. But at the same time, I think it's a nice thing that people have even come out of their way to tell me that it's good and stuff. And I'm always going to love where I've come from, and I owe a big part of my success to that, and to the people that actually listened to me in the first place at my school and stuff when I had literally like 10 monthly listeners. So I've never seen it as a bad thing ever, and I'm really happy about that.
Is it small enough to where everyone kind of knows you pretty well and like what you've accomplished?
Yeah, especially through like the music scene in Bedford, because it's actually really good. There's a lot of cool bands like Don Broco and Tom Grennan's from Bedford as well. And so there's quite a few people that have made Bedford a better scene recently for music and stuff, which I think is really good. And yeah, it's cool because Bedford's quite big, but at the same time, everyone's kind of connected, which is really nice to see.
Mm-hmm. For you personally, what was the first big freak out moment when it came to your music? Like a milestone you were excited to hit?
Oh, I think when I released Like an Animal, I mean, my monthly listeners before, because of Orange Juice, but they were on like 20,000 or something. But like as soon as I released Like an Animal, I was on like 100K in like a matter of days. And there was all these people messaging me like, yo, this is really good. I can't believe you're 15, blah, blah, blah. And I think that was like the first time I was like, wait, okay, this is actually going somewhere. And I couldn't believe it. There was like such a surreal feeling for a week or two. And I feel like I've never actually came out of that feeling. And now, I mean, there's a lot of famous people say that once they're famous, it kind of just like numbs down. But I think that's actually because you're constantly excited about it. And you've just like got into such a big mess about like that you're constantly like kind of just like, whoa, like almost unfazed by it. But I'm not famous or anything, but just like the respect that I get is really lovely and it's really heartwarming. And every day I wake up to new fans and it's just like such a nice thing. So I think when that Like an Animal thing dropped on Spotify and I just saw the recognition and stuff that it got, I was just like really happy.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was going to ask too, is what is life for you now like? I think you dropped out of school, right? Or you completed school, passed, and then now it's music full time?
Yeah. It is kind of odd. And I guess it's kind of going back to that whole elephant in the room thing as well. It's like, it's kind of obvious that I'm the one kid now that's not in school. And it's weird. And it's, at the moment, it's kind of like, what am I going to do? And it's all about playing it out again. Because like everyone kind of just knows that I'm out there making music, but I don't know what to feel at the moment because I've just left school and like right now is such a weird time in my life. Everyone at 17 just doesn't know what they're doing. So the fact that I'm now doing music full time and I'm doing all of this crazy stuff, it's like a big jump for a 17-year-old. And yeah, the thing is that everyone my age is still at school and they're kind of just like, what? He's just there. How has he done that? What's he like? But it's cool. But I just don't know what the next steps are. Really, I think it'll come naturally.
Mm-hmm. You go on tour with some of your friends from school, is that right?
Yeah, one of them now, because the other two are kind of like focusing on school a bit more. But the other two guys are a little bit older. They're 21. I just met them through like the local scene.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was going to ask, is how does that work are they still in school while you're not? Do you have to kind of schedule around that?
Yeah, well, the one that Joss, my mate, who's also 17, who I met through school, he's not in school anymore. He's just he's trying to start his own kind of project called Ocean Estate on Spotify and stuff. But yeah, he's so chill. He wouldn't have cared about dropping out.
Mm-hmm.
So luckily I've got him. But at the moment, it's not necessarily the best time to go on tour. So
right.
We're all just kind of stuck at home. But
right. Gives you time to work on your craft, though.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's exciting, man. Now, just kind of like the last couple of questions that we like to ask everybody on here. The first is, what advice would you give to artists trying to make it today?
I'm probably not the greatest advice, considering that I'm probably like, I could be half your age or whatever the opposite of quadruple is in terms of, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I guess the best advice is that a lot of people, there's a weird thing, right? A lot of people say, make music for yourself. And a lot of people say the other. They say make music for like the labels and stuff. Like, but I think it's all about getting that balance. And if you can't make music for yourself that you like, and music for your labels that they don't like, then you're probably not on the right label. You've got to make something that you and the label like, rather than you don't like and the label like, or you like but the label don't. It's kind of about balancing that. And if you don't have that, then you're probably not on the right label and you need to figure something out. But it's all about just knowing what's right for you first of all, and then if you can't find a label that doesn't like your stuff, it doesn't mean you're wrong. It actually just means that you're not meant for labels, and that the only way forward is you. You'll figure it out. And I think that's what I always thought about growing up, putting music out. It was about kind of waiting for a label that would fit my music. And luckily that happened. Chess Club came along, which is like an independent label who love indie music. So I was lucky. But if that never happened, I would have just kept trekking along by myself. So I think it's about finding the balance, really. And if that balance doesn't include a record label, then that's cool. Just don't worry about getting signed. That's my only advice, really.
With the label, do you have a team around you now that kind of help you navigate your music and stuff like that?
Yeah. I have I work with AWOL, who are part of Cobalt. And they're really great. And Red Light, my management, they're great. But it's not like a massive team. It's just it's a small group of people that I trust and know have the same vision as me. And I think that's the most important thing. I think that's what it should be like.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Knowing who's in control.
Right. The last thing is to looking forward. What's next for you, man? When the normalcy sets back in the world, do you have any plans?
I was going to say about a year of plans have gone to beep. But yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of touring, but I mean, we've got time anyway. We can make the shows even better now, actually, and put more effort into like the design, stage, and stuff. But to be honest, I've just been making songs. I've got probably 2 EPs coming out this year.
Wow, that's awesome.
And then I've got an album in the works as well. Probably about 2 albums ready. I've just been making songs, writing and recording in my house because like that's all I really like doing. So, and to be honest, it's kind of nice. It's kind of a blessing having isolation because I think once everyone goes back to work, we're going to miss it, and we're going to realize that this was such a crucial moment in history in a way. It's kind of just made us all realize that we don't take self-love and appreciate things for granted enough, because staying in your room for a while actually it can help get a lot of things done that you didn't ever think about. It's like when you go on a jog in the morning and you just remember all of this stuff now, and then like forget it afterwards. Now you don't have to forget it. You can actually like get it done. And I think actually once this is all over, it will actually lift some weight from our shoulders and make things a bit easier. So yeah, it's just been music and answering emails that I forgot about, which is great because I wouldn't have done it if I didn't have this. So yeah, it's good.
That's awesome. All right. Well, whatever is coming next for you, man, we are excited to hear it for sure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for taking the time to come on the show, though. I really do appreciate it.
No, thank you, dude. I loved it.
Thank you. Yeah. If people want to find you online, where can they?
Just go Alfie Templeman on any platform and check out my website, www.alfietempleman.com.
All right. Awesome. Well, everyone go check him out there. Go stream some of his amazing work on whatever you get your music on and support the amazing up-and-comer here. Again, thank you, man, for spending some time with me. I hope you have a good one.
Thank you, dude. Have a good one.
Bye.
Cheers.
Again, thank you to Alfie for coming on to the show. The guy is extremely talented, and like you said, he's 17 years old, another young guy in the game right now, really making it in his own unique way. And is so energetic too, so positively energetic. You can really tell through his music. So go check it out if you haven't already. As always though, don't forget to subscribe, follow us on social media, and throw us some downloads and ratings on iTunes. Become a member of our Patreon as well to get these episodes a week early, as well as other perks like monthly bonus episodes, merch, and more at patreon.com/MOAA. As always though, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next episode.